Well, welcome to my first of sorts motovlog. Got a new camera set up, GoPro Hero 11 Black, and thought I would take you along on my little trip to work this morning. And it also serves as a test because I've got a microphone inside the helmet as well, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Maybe a bit of wind noise because I've got the visor open at the moment. But the route I'm taking this morning is down through the Duc Valley, which is a nice twisty road between my home and Truro, where I work in Cornwall. And it's a beautiful day. It's going to be about 25-26 degrees today, and there we are. So this roundabout at the bottom of the road here is Penhale roundabout. It's very close to the Kingsley Village shopping centre in Fraddon, and from there on we'll be going to Brighton Cross and then the Duc Valley through to Truro, and then I'll be taking a little detour through Penhale and sort of bypassing some of the traffic going into Truro, and then up to what's known as County Hall. Although I work in the police, my role means that I work in County Hall in a multi-agency department. So there we go. People often ask me why do I like Ducatis? Well, this is my, I can't think, I've lost count. It's either my 7th or 8th Ducati now, and I just like the fact that they're different. You know, you don't see too many of them around. I suffer with sort of back problems, so for me the Multistrada is perfect because it gives me the upright seated position. This is my 3rd Multistrada, but the first one of the new generation. The other 2 I had were both the older style with the sort of slab front that most people don't like, but it works okay for me. And I've also had my first Ducati was a 750 Supersport in yellow. I've also had a Monster S2R 1000. I've had a 999, a Multistrada 1000 DS, and a Multistrada 1100 SDS. So this bike came up at the right time, really. If you watch one of my other videos, my first video on this channel, you'll see that I'm going to have to open my visor a bit because I got steaming up here. I've got my sunglasses on. So this bike was bought from a dealer in Wrexham in North Wales, and for those of you who are geographically aware, North Wales is a long way from where I live, so I had to take the train up and ride the bike back. So that was Brighton Cross roundabout. We're now entering the Duc Valley. We will go through New Mills and then Duc, and then at the other end we're on our side of Truro, near Truro. And my fuel lights just come on. Should be good for later on. So I'll try and film the journey home as well if I've got enough battery. I forgot to put the extra battery in my rucksack, but okay. Yeah, the other bikes I've had in between the Ducatis, I had a Moto Guzzi Bravo, which was a nice bike. Stupidly, and although in itself it's a nice bike, it wasn't for me. I traded my 1100 SDS Multistrada for a Honda VFR 800, And the thing that struck me with that, it's a V4, but it was just like super smooth and super reliable. It had no quirks at all, and it was just uninspiring to ride. So I got rid of that one, and I took it up to some Honda dealer up country somewhere and traded it for the Monster S2R1000, which I did a few little bits to, put a belly pan on it, and aftermarket exhaust, open clutch cover, the usual sort of Ducati stuff. But that's the one that I traded for the Moto Guzzi, which was okay. You know, nothing wrong with it, but the call of Ducati was too strong, so I ended up coming back to Ducati again. The bike I had immediately before this one was the 1997 Ducati ST2, the Sports Tourer, which was a lovely bike, but I've recently had some problems with shoulders and back and stuff, and the leaning forward riding position didn't really help, so I decided that I would sell it and get something a bit more akin to my medical conditions. So my friend Dave, who came with me to buy the ST2 actually, and fell in love with it himself as soon as he saw it. He had a Triumph Daytona T595 at the time, which he'd had for a number of years, and he'd done a lot of work to it. He'd had the shocks refurbished and the rear suspension set up properly, and it was a nice bike. But I had a Daytona 955i, which was essentially the same bike, about 20 years ago. But I said to him, I'm selling the ST2, and he was like, I love it, how much are you selling it for? So I told him how much, yeah, we did the deal. And again, he's done some work to it. It needed a little bit of work, but he's done that, and it's probably one of the nicer ST2s in the country, so he's happy with it. Sorry about the sniffling if you can hear it. I got a bit of a cold this morning, but yeah, so that led me to the Multistrada. Now, the company that sold this bike, DNA Motorcycles in Wrexham, lovely chap up there. I was keeping an eye on his stock, and he had a Multistrada 1200 of the newer generation, and I really wanted that. And then when I was getting to the point where I could seriously start looking at bikes, because finances were in place, obviously I've sold the ST2 and had a bit of money to put towards it, he sold it, and I was really gutted. I mean, really gutted. But a couple of days later, that bike was replaced with the Multistrada I'm on now, the 1260S touring model. And I mentioned in my other video that at the time I bought it, it was the highest mileage Multistrada on the market, and the mileage was sitting at about 41,000. So, but I checked with a few people. I spoke to the guys at Moto Rapido in the parts department. Oh, hello. Don't normally get a hold up here. I was saying we're going to travel on the nice twisties, but not at 6 miles an hour. Yes, I spoke to, I can't remember if it was Luke or Craig at Moto Rapido, and he was like, these bikes are made to go long distance, and it's had main dealer service history, so you know, there's not going to be a problem. And another chap who lives down here in Cornwall said to me that you know, all the important stuff with wearing in or breaking in the bike and all the changes to the shims and stuff happens normally before 30,000 miles, up to 30,000. After that, very little changes, and this is a guy that does all his own servicing, so I was quite happy that, as it had main dealer service history, that everything was in order, and it was, and I haven't had any problems with it. I know the service light's on. I've got to get it serviced, which I'll probably end up doing myself, and then work out how I'm going to get the service light switched off. That's why there's a hold up. Cornwall is famous for three things: tractors, caravans, and cyclists. So there we go. There we got another one, have we? This will be a caravan or a tractor. So yeah, there we go. That's the story of me and Ducati. Absolutely love them. My 999, I had a 2005 999 Biposto, and I probably would still have had it now, had it not been for the fact that, I'll tell you the story. So Angie lost her dad a few years ago, and her first day back to work after the funeral, I went to see her. I was day off work, she was working, so I went to see her during her lunch break, and on the ride home I had a van behind me pulling up to Carland Cross Roundabout, which is on the A30 outside of Truro, and he was flashing and beeping, and I'm thinking, I'm not riding silly, I'm not that sort of person. What's going on? Anyway, I just ignored him, and then we got to the roundabout, and there was traffic on the roundabout, so I put my foot down, and he pulled alongside me, wound his window down, and looked over and said, "You're on fire!" So I just glanced to my left and caught a reflection of the bike in the side of his very clean, very nice van, and yeah, sure enough, the whole pillion seat was alight. Now, God knows what caused it. The loss adjuster that came out and had a look couldn't explain it. His best guess was a pocket of unspent fuel that ignited in the end can, and it just got hotter and hotter. But the indicators were now pointing downwards, dripping molten plastic onto the back wheel, and yeah, that bike was written off, and I said I would never have another Ducati that had under-seat exhausts, and two first-generation Multistradas later, which both have under-seat exhausts, and I've never had another problem. Come on, get past these white lines. I know some motorcyclists would chance it, but not me. So the only thing with the 999, it's quite a raw ride, and Angie does like, this is my wife, does like to come out on the back of the bike with me, and I'm not really, she wasn't really enamoured with the ride of the 999, and she found it quite hard. It is quite a hard ride, even for the rider. So bit of a blessing for her, really, but it did catch fire. Bless her. I did ring her from the roundabout when it was going up in flames, and I shouldn't have done it really, but I called her and just let her know that the bike was on fire, and bless her, she burst into tears on the phone. I think it was probably a bit too much. Not the news she wanted to hear. First day going back to work after her dad's funeral. So there we are. But that was 15 years ago. I had done quite a lot of work to that bike as well. Usual dry clutch stuff and a few carbony bits. It was only the Proposta, which is the sort of a base model, and thank you. Things happen for a reason, don't they? And again, like DNA Motorcycles, I think he's called Dave, the guy that owns it. I was never meant to have the 1200. Thank you. And it was this one that I was meant to have. Again with the 999. I was meant to change it. Divine intervention. So there we are. We're just coming into Truro now. And I don't know why the traffic is so heavy today. But I guess we'll find out shortly. I came through here yesterday, and yesterday morning I went home a different way, and there were no traffic lights or roadworks or any indication that there was going to be. But still, I guess there is today. Got plenty of fuel to get home tonight, which is good. After my day at the coalface, I'll, providing I've got enough battery left in the camera, I will take you on the ride home. And I'll go home a different way. I'll go home out through Trispan, which is the other side of Truro, and take you out towards the A30 to this Carland Cross roundabout. It's famous because famous in Cornwall anyway, because it's got a load of wind turbines right next to it. But they're doing some work on the road between Carland Cross and Chiverton Cross roundabouts, which had several bottlenecks in it because it drops down to single carriageway, and they're dual carriagewaying it all the way down through. So a lot of roadworks at the moment, so the actual layout of the roundabout has changed. But we'll see that later on, hopefully. If not, so be it. That'll teach me for... I bought extra batteries and things as well, and I just forgot to put them in my bag. But there we go. So this is Truro. Nice little village, just one road straight through. There's a couple of estates off to the right, and odd-shaped building. I always wondered why the roof was like that on that building. But to my left and behind the buildings here, nice Audi dealership, Yeomans. But to my left is the Malpas River. And maybe just see it through the trees in a minute. Oh, ambulance. Where I work, my office is facing the main road, and it's the sort of main road through Truro that goes up to the Royal Cornwall Hospital, and the amount of blue lights that come through of a day, it's Surprising, really. I wouldn't be surprised if I could count 20 ambulances going through on a day. So, okay, so this is where I'll take a detour. Just up ahead. Straight on would take me up to Waitrose, the top of Tregoles Road. But I'm going to take this little turning here for Pencollenic, not Penweathers, Pencollenic. And this takes me through the back lanes, past Pen Air School, I think it's Pen Air School, and down to the Trafalgar roundabout in Truro. And when we get to the roundabout in a minute, there's a new complex on the right hand side, and that's been built in the last sort of few years, but I used to work in the police station there. Apologies for the wind noise, if there is any. Yeah, so it's one of these retirement complexes. You know that it's not a retirement home. It's, you know, independent living, but you generally sort of retire to these type of places. And it's built on the site of the old Truro police station. And I've worked there for, I think, 7 years. Before I moved to Newquay, closer to where I live. Okay, this is a 20-mile-an-hour zone now, because just to the right of me here is the school. As you can see, it's quite days like today. I sometimes wonder if it's worth taking this shortcut. Yeah, so the last video on my channel was the ride out with Ben. We did the Indian Queen's Band Week charity bike ride, which was okay. We rode up to Camelford, North Cornwall, on the, I think it was, we went up on the B3314. We came up back on the A39, and then we had cream tea and a pasty, which was very nice indeed. But if anybody ever visits Cornwall and you want a proper pasty, in my opinion, the best ones are Malcolm Barnicott. But that's just my opinion. And I've had a few pasties, I can tell you. Right, so we're dropping down the hill now towards the Trafalgar roundabout. At the bottom here I have a choice. I can either go straight on and go through the city and up past the railway station to my place of work, or I can turn left and go up the little dual carriageway way. So I think this morning I will go Yesterday when I turned left yesterday, and when I went that way, at the top there it was quite busy with traffic, so let's give it a go going straight on this morning. It's quite very busy here today. Of course, a lot of the schools go back today after their summer holiday. Scoot past this lot. One of the advantage of being on a bike. Right, so we're going straight on today. So this is sort of the back end of Truro city, and you can see the cathedral there. Turned into a bit of an amber gambler. So when I come to work the other way, if I come down the A30, come in through Trispan, this is where I would normally come out, just at this junction here. One-way system that we're going through now. Buses coming. It's currently 8:15 AM, so middle of rush hour. Traffic's not too bad today. Yeah, Ben's just released a couple of new videos. He's done one which is like an ASMR one, just a ride with his friends, just purely the sound of the bike, and it's his same engine as mine, but his engine is in a Diavel. Sounds lovely. And he put out a new video yesterday as I'm recording this. When he went to get his jacket altered, because like me, he was a bit of a larger fellow, and he's lost a lot of weight post-COVID. Me, I tend to find that I can put it on, but I don't lose it. getting up to my workplace. So nearly at the end of our journey. Go on, there you go. So this is where I work. And the cars. We have our little motorcycle parking space. At the bottom here. Motorcycles. Bright sunlight. So there we are. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little journey. Not only from home to work, but also my journey in motorcycling. So hopefully I'll have enough battery and enough memory left to record the journey home. So with that, until later, this is Duke of Cornwall signing off. Cheers for now.